Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from YourBlackWorld.com. Recently, I was sitting on the computer and I saw that Tavis Smiley has sent a cease and desist letter to a guy by the name of Morris O'Kelly. And Morris O'Kelly is a really diligent online journalist. He does a lot of other stuff. He's a radio show host. He kind of does a million things, and I've always respected him. And I also respect Tavis. You know, a lot of people have issues with Tavis, and I've had issues with him too. But just because you disagree with somebody sometimes doesn't mean you can't appreciate what they bring to the table. So to talk about some of this, I wanted to bring on my partner in crime, my homegirl, Yvette Carnell. How you doing today, Yvette?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing really good. I'm actually happy. I didn't realize how happy I'd be to see you on Skype again, or Uvu, or whichever program we're on. We haven't done this for a while.
Nah, it's been a minute.
Yeah,
We've been writing.
We've been writing, and the technology was literally less than a year ago. The technology was so choppy that it just annoyed me, and I got to the point where I was like, man, I don't want to do this. And you were kind of frustrated too. And now, look, you're coming through clear as day. So something must have happened.
You gotta love the internet, the interwebs.
The intranet.
Upgrade.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this whole thing with Tavis and the cease and desist letter and all this stuff? I saw that and I was like, wow. It reminds me of like a hip hop artist suing another artist for sampling his music. Like, you just don't really do that. So I was trying to figure out what's going on here. I know these guys have known each other. I think Morris used to work for Tavis. So that tells you it's probably somewhat personal as well. I mean, what is your take on this?
I mean, why would you? Here's my take. I just, for the life of me, I cannot understand Tavis. I understand what Tavis said about Obama. I said a lot of the same things, but I've also said that Tavis is sort of compromised in terms of he may be the wrong messenger for that message, considering his entanglement with Wells Fargo and things like that. So I've made that same point. But why would you send Morris O'Kelly, otherwise known as Mo Kelly from the Mo Kelly Report, why would you send him a cease and desist? You are a public figure. You cannot get people to stop talking about you. That's just not going to happen. And so what? Like, my thing is, so what? If Mo Kelly disagrees with you, who really gives a damn? That's my thing. I don't care. I don't understand why he cares. I mean, is he really that sensitive that he would send a cease and desist order to someone for saying something bad about him? Why does Mo Kelly's opinion really matter that much to you? I just don't understand, like, in terms of, there are 24 hours in a day. I just can't understand why Tavis Smiley would use one of those hours to contact an attorney and try to get him to send a cease and desist to a radio talk show. A radio talk show that, I'd heard of Mo Kelly, but a radio talk show host that a lot of people hadn't heard of until Smiley mentioned his name.
Yeah, that was interesting. My first thought was that, Mo Kelly probably needs to send Tavis a thank you card. It reminds me of how 50 Cent got on the map because he dissed Jay-Z and Jay-Z dissed him back. And you have a two-way transmission where the magnitude of impact in one direction does not match the magnitude in the other. And I think about Juan Williams, that little corny Negro on Fox News. I remember when I said something about him, and I said some things about him on CNN that he didn't like, and I remember Juan, apparently it must have gotten to him because he wrote an entire article in Time magazine about what I said and responding to what I said. But he was very smart. He did not mention my name one time. Now, Bill O'Reilly is not as smart as Juan. Bill O'Reilly mentioned my name all over the place, and it was interesting because at that time, a lot of those people that he was talking to didn't know who I was, but after that, they did know who I was. And so people who didn't like Bill O'Reilly said, "Oh, I like this guy because he doesn't like O'Reilly," and I still don't like O'Reilly. It's 6 years later or whatever it is now, and I haven't appeared on Fox News since then. But I think that overall, I didn't understand the move. I think that it's definitely personal. I think that from what I've seen, what Mo said was not that bad. I also think at the same time that to some extent, while Tavis might have benefited Mo by talking about him, I think Mo benefits Tavis by highlighting a point, a critique that really opens that door for Tavis to be able to be more effective in what he's trying to do. And what I mean by is this. a lot of people got behind Mo because they don't like Tavis. You know, I think that's why Mo got invited on the Tom Joyner Morning Show. You know, I think Tom has some bad beef or ill will toward Tavis, and in that article he wrote about Tavis, even insinuating that he was gay and all these other horrible things he said. You know, not that being gay is horrible, but it's, you know, it's unfair if it's true or not, or it's not called for. But anyway, I think that's why Tom had Mo on. Tom didn't say a word. Roland interviewed him, but Tom is the one who green lights these interviews. So anyway, going back to that point, I think that where Mo might have helped Tavis is, you know, by laying his critique out of Tavis's poverty tour, by saying that I would like for you to have policy recommendations attached to your poverty tour. You know, I think that gives Tavis an easy response. Tavis can say either, well, here's a policy recommendation. Now will you listen to what I have to say? Or he can say, here are some recommendations that we have been making. Now will you listen to what I have to say? So what that does, either way, it opens the door for people to listen to what Tavis is saying, because whether you like Tavis or not, the fact is that what he's talking about with poverty, it's not like it's incorrect. And one of the things that I have a big problem with is that people would rather talk about Tavis than to talk about poverty. You know, if you talk about Tavis, then you don't have to talk about poverty. So I say stop talking about Tavis so we can talk about poverty. What do you think, Yvette?
Well, this is the point I've always made. The point I have always made is that the guy is either right or wrong. The point I've always made with anybody, you know, people tell me this, you know, I run into conservatives who say, oh, I can't read anything on Mother Jones or MSNBC because it's slanted. You know, I run into liberals who say I can't read anything from Fox News because it's slanted. Well, that's fine and good, but address the issue. Either if Fox is wrong and they're slanted, just say this is how they're wrong. And I feel the same way about Tavis. If Tavis is wrong, then say this is why Tavis is wrong. This is why Tavis is wrong. This is why I don't agree with Tavis on poverty. This is why I think Obama cannot do more on poverty. Tell me why you think the guy is wrong. For you to just keep going around saying, well, I can't listen to him because it's personal, that's such a cop-out. That's such a cop-out. And for the black community to continue to say that, well, I can't listen to any of the points that Tavis is making about poverty because it's coming from Tavis is such a cop-out. But then I can also say this. The reason part of the reason people won't take Tavis seriously is because he goes and does stuff like this. You know, so now Tom Joyner, who I just have no love for, has Mo Kelly on his radio show. And you know, ever since, I'm just going to put it out there, ever since Tom Joyner wrote that thing calling Carnell West his side, Tavis Smiley his side piece, ever since then, I have had no love for Tom Joyner, because once you kick that and you throw somebody's sexuality in there, like you said, you know, once you kick that in there, because you didn't have a problem with it when he was on your show doing segments all the time, that wasn't an issue then. You didn't have an issue with anything that was going on then. But all of a sudden, now that he agrees with you, you're calling his friend his side piece and you're doing that kind of stuff. So Tom Joyner, you know, I have like this much respect for him.
Well, you know, I agree with that. I think that what Tom said was entirely inappropriate, and I think that as much as people want to criticize Tavis for being personal in his critique of Obama, or as much as they want to critique Carnell for being personal in his assault on Obama, you know, you can say the same thing about Tom Joyner. You know, you can say the same thing about Melissa Harris Perry in terms of how she has criticized Carnell West. You can't tell me that Melissa's attacks on Carnell haven't been personal. When you work next to somebody, work down the hall from them for 2 or 3 years, and suddenly you're bashing them like crazy, when 3 years earlier they were one of your best friends and they were one of your greatest champions that even got you the job in the first place, and I'm talking about when she was at Princeton, then that tells me that there is something personal going on when you're out here attacking this person who used to be your friend. So a lot of this stuff is personal, and I think that what we have to understand is that in many cases, just because something's personal doesn't mean that it can't be true. And I think that there's certainly a lot of this personal stuff going on, but I think that where Mo and Tavis have to really meet minds, and this is true for all of us, is we have to sort of get past the idea where we are focused on either loving Obama or hating Obama, loving Tavis or hating Tavis, loving Carnell or hating Carnell, etc., and really focus on what we all have in common, which is loving the black community. Whether you love Obama or hate Obama, if you love the black community, then you will represent the interests of the black community and ensure that President Obama does the same. That your love or hate for the president or anything in between should be a function of the love you have for your community. It should not be the other way around. And right now, black leadership, black public figures, whatever you want to call it, it's in a complete state of disarray because basically Valerie Jarrett from the very beginning said if we draw a line in the sand and we divide and conquer, then nothing will get done in the black community. So we pay off a few people, we isolate a few others because we know these Negroes won't stand together. And guess what? The last 4 years of having a black president have probably been the most stagnant 4 years in the black community in the last 40, 50 years. So if we're going to move forward, we must move forward together. We must find our common ground. Our common ground is love for our community, and love is stronger than hate. So, Yvette, I'll let you get the last word.
No, I've always said that I agree. And part of the problem here is that there are so many egos in the black community. Everybody is trying to get their shine. And, if you're trying to get your shine, then you really care. You really care about, how much airtime you get. You really care about, if this person said X, Y, and Z about me and it's personal. It's not personal. I've always made the case that what happens to Obama and what Obama is doing right now or first term, right now I think we've lost all leverage. But first time I always made the case that this is about policies. Focus on the policies. Stop focusing on how you feel, whether you love him or whether you're just like, I hate that man. No, stop focusing on your feel and focus on your interest. The only thing that should matter to black people are black people's interests. And we should really decide what those interests are. And we should, we shouldn't really give those interests over either. I mean, we should really decide on some interests. And I saw the thing, that we would put up the other week about Al Sharpton and a few others going, to getting behind closed doors and deciding what black people should. Oh, come on. Like I'm so past these people. I'm so past being jealous and Al Sharpton deciding what's good for black people that I could just shout. Like, I think most of the black community is a little bit past that. Is a little bit past this. And the truth of the matter is, if you wanted to have any leverage in terms of getting Obama to move, you should have had that meeting like the day after the inauguration. So for you to come here now after he's been elected to his second term and be like, well, now we're going to decide, give me a break. You're a joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of posturing going on, and and it just breaks my heart because there was a time where, and it's still a time. I mean, I just really have so much respect for Al Sharpton's intelligence and his savvy. He's a very smart guy, very tough guy, and I learned a lot from the time I spent talking to him. But when something does not smell right, and you feel that that incentives and a person's spirit are not going in a direction that makes sense to you, it's hard to be a part of that. And so it kind of disappoints me that I have to call it in this way, but I see a lot of posturing. I think that some of the decisions that have been made by Ben Jealous over the last 4 years have been just atrocious. You're going in a direction that's completely opposite of all your constituents, because you're trying to somehow gain political favor with an administration that is paying off the people at the top, but screwing over the people at the bottom. And I think that that's the kind of leadership we don't need in our community. I think some of that is driven also by the fact that we depend on white people to take care of us. We need white people to give us access to resources. We need them to give us money. We need them to give us access to media platforms. We need them to help us sell our books or whatever it is that we're trying to do. And so ultimately what they know is, look, we can buy these Negroes off if we give them a job on MSNBC. Or because they don't have access to media, they don't have any money. We can help. If we help them out with their financial situation or whatever it is. And it's kind of gotten to the point where for some people that's just how the game is played, and I don't think that's how the game should be played. And that's why, if people want to know why I hang out with you and Your Black World so much, and we work to build our platform, is because I wanted to do what we do without begging for help from these white people who don't care about us. I don't hate white people. I grew up around white people. I know white people better than black people, I think. But, I don't want to depend on the descendants of my historical oppressors to give me what I need every day, to give me my validation that I need. So I think that as we move forward, we need a new paradigm of leadership, and I think we're moving in that direction. I see a lot of people that are saying things now that they wouldn't have said 3 or 4 years ago. I'm talking about rank and file people. So I think that that's what we got to focus on, and whatever Ben and Al are doing, whatever posturing they're doing for themselves, they can keep doing that. But that has nothing to do with what's happening with you and your family. So Yvette, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and thank you all for checking us out at yourblackworld.com. And we are becoming a little nation. We are now about 380,000 strong between our email subscribers and Twitter followers and Facebook fans and everything else. And so we'd be nothing without you. So we truly appreciate your support. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated.